Hey guys, how are you doing? It's 8-Bit Eric. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 news, guys. This is a very interesting development. I am excited about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. We got the PS5 update coming for the first part of the game and some DLC and stuff. But Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is something that I am wanting to know more about. Now, who knows how long this is going to take before it comes out. I think it's going to take a lot of development time unless they've been working on it since before the first part released. Who really knows? But it is going to be pretty ambitious. But we got some interesting news right here in regards to them only having one director now working on the part instead of three. So before we get into this article, if you're not subscribed yet, why don't you click that red subscription button and let's go ahead and find out more. So Nomura is busy. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into making Final Fantasy VII Remake from the ground up. A full team had to basically reimagine this classic JRPG without screwing things up. And that included new sound effects, visuals, music, designs, mechanics, you name it. So it makes perfect sense that it took a team of 3 directors and countless others to make that happen. That directorial trio included Tetsuya Nomura, Naoki Hamaguchi, and Motemu Toriyama. I'm sorry about my butchering of their Japanese names. And that was the 3 directors for the first part. So, you know, it was kind of polarizing with the direction that they took Final Fantasy VII Remake. I happen to like what they're doing here. I like what the future holds. I can't wait to see the new adaptations they present going forward. I'm actually overall pretty excited for what is going on. So now we got an update right here. Let me pause that annoying ad. So it says, speaking to Famitsu, Nomura confirmed that Part 2 will only have one director, who is Naoki Hamaguchi. Part of the reason is that Nomura will be busy working on more projects now than ever before. So that is very interesting. I think Square has a pretty full docket coming up for them in the next couple of years with a lot of the content that they're coming up with. Since a lot of the groundwork is already done, Nomura feels comfortable that this one can be helmed by one person. However, Nomura is still involved as the creative director on all things Final Fantasy VII, which specifically includes the remake and the mobile games. He says that is not a significant change. So he's still running and calling the shots. But since Final Fantasy VII Remake was already produced, most of the overworld, the graphics, the sound effects, the basic game mechanics, he feels comfortable with just letting one person run it. So I'm very interested to see just how far along Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is. It could be a lot further along than we realize. And at some point, this game is supposed to feature the open world parts of Final Fantasy VII that we didn't get to explore in Part 1 of the remake. The Part 1 remake was mostly just in Midgar. It was all the way up until the escape from Midgar. So seeing what they're going to do or change from this point will be quite interesting. I'm pretty sure that it's going to at least feature the open world map, but I think they're going to change a lot of things, especially with the way that the story is going. And I without a shadow of a doubt am pretty sure that Square Enix was working on it nonstop since Part 1 release. That we're probably a lot further along on Part 2 than we realize it. A lot of people are speculating that Part 2 might not even come out on the PlayStation 5, that we might even see it take longer than expected. But I think we are pretty further along than we would realize it. And then on top of that, we got the DLC storyline coming out that could be a good middle point between Part 1 and Part 2 to kind of tide us over. So yeah, very interesting. You know, if they have enough confidence to just have one director when the first part was 3, then I'm going to venture to say that it's a lot closer to being done than we realize. I think maybe the next Final Fantasy game will come out, as well as the DLC, and then a year from then we will see Part 2. So I would say maybe maybe in 2022 we'll see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I know that seems like a fast turnaround, but I'm venturing to predict that it's more ready than what we realize. So let me know what you guys think about this development. What do you think about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and what are you looking forward to the second part of it? Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you on the next one.